What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Good evening. We're gonna let everybody jump in on the live here, and we will get going for Thursday night. We're almost there. We're almost at toward the end. Coming up here with day number 4, we're gonna be talking about mastermind groups, mentorship, and networking. And so we're gonna be getting in tonight and talking about these themes and talking about how we can leverage those for success. We've talked about the millionaire mindset on the first night. We dived into our goals. We kind of understood, some strategies or frameworks that we can leverage to get going with identifying our goals for 2024. But even further out, going long term, we're looking at casting that vision for our lives. And then on last night, one of my favorite nights, we got into some of the strategies that the wealthy use to build and preserve their wealth. And we kind of honed in on the asset class with multifamily and investing in apartments, which was super cool because I just love the acceleration of wealth that you can achieve with that asset class. And you can get there a whole lot faster than individual single families. And that's something that I learned over my career, my journey, just going into that and how you can leverage that to build wealth. And now tonight, we're going to talk about the importance of mastermind groups, mentoring, and networking. For those who may not be experienced with mastermind groups, it is a powerful concept that for a lot of people, even for myself, up until, like 2020, it was new to me, but it's been around for a long time. And so we're going to dive into that and peel the onion back a little further on what that actually looks like. With no further ado, let's get going tonight. But yeah, everybody drop a 1 in the chat if you're doing good tonight. This is gonna be one that's gonna be a little bit interactive. But yeah, I just want to see where we got in the chat, see who's in there. I see somebody got a let's go. I see a couple ones coming in there on Facebook. I'm gonna get my my phone going here so I can see names for the comments, and we are gonna be off to the races. There we go. Awesome. All right. Welcome. I see Earl's here. Damon, Leslie, John, Miss Wilford, Christian, Marcus. Let's go. We in here. We're going to get rolling tonight and get going talking about masterminds and networking and mentorship. So with that, we're going to be talking about understanding what's the importance of collaboration. What does that look like? Networking. What's the importance behind networking? And then diving into the specifics of actual masterminds, the mentorship side of it, who, not how, and then we're going to get going and kind of wrap it up for the night. And one of the cool things that we're going to do, you can look into your workbooks. And for those that have read ahead, that are a little bit studious already, kind of see what we have laid out for you in the workbooks. But there will be, of course, an assignment kind of to get you thinking along the lines of this on this topic on how you can apply it today in your own life. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's one of the things that you have to realize. If you want to be successful, find someone who has achieved the results you want to copy and do what they do. That's it. And you're going to get the same results. That, as you know, in the Bible, it says there's nothing new under the sun. I think there was Solomon that said that. And that was way back when. It was over 2,000 years ago. And or even longer. And when you think through, it's like there's nothing new under the sun today. And so if you are thinking of a special concept, somebody at some point has probably come up with it with the business model in some capacity. You may have your own spin on it in order to focus in or maybe switch it up a little bit. But overall, there is a path that someone has traveled that can make you successful. You're not going to be the very first business owner. There's some structure that goes with running a successful business, that there's probably other successful business owners who have been in business for a while that can help you get down that path. And so that's a quote there that we kicked off with Tony Robbins, who's a very, very established and one of the top speakers when it comes to performance coaching and in personal development. But understanding what does collaboration look like. And so I want to kind of kick off with a story, but just think about it. When you're talking about business, you're passionate about building your own business. You made the leap, you thought about it. You've been really successful in your own career. Maybe a mid-tier manager in the company, established yourselves and like, hey, I'm actually going to take my skill set. I'm going to open my own business. You got that vision. You've kind of cast that vision, and you can see success down the line with you starting this business. However, once you start getting into reality and you understand the time required, that time is a precious commodity that you don't have a lot of. It's a limited resource. And then you start going into the different challenges that you face from a business ownership perspective. You got operations, you got marketing, you have the financing, you have the underwriting that you have to do, the acquisitions that goes into actually managing it. And so one of the big things as a business owner that you have that full-time job because you haven't, burned the bridges yet. You're still working a full-time job. And now you still have your family commitments. And now you said, I'm going to take the couple hours extra I have each day to start building my dream, business. How do you manage it all? How do you still create time out of nowhere when you didn't have enough time already in the day from work, kids events, practices, spending time with your family, and now you're going to start a business. And now you understand that you have these limitations on your time, but how can you leverage and get more time? And you acknowledge this, and the way to get there is by leveraging other people's expertise, identifying your strengths where you really can focus in on, and identifying your weaknesses where you can bring others on and collaborate in order to bolster those weaknesses that you have. And now, forming those connections, you start to actively seek individuals with complementary skills, and you establish a group of collective problem solving. And you kind of go through that process to go from a solo entrepreneur to a full-fledged business owner. And the results that come with it is the collaboration drives diverse expertise, a whole nother renewed thought perspective on how you can get your business from A to B, to get from B to C and continue to grow. And eventually you're going to be there where the whole process of doing business and solving problems becomes that much easier. And it's a daunting process to go from a W-2 job earner where you're plugged into systems, processes, expectations, a routine, to go to a business owner where you're almost in the wild, wild west. You're trying to figure it out by yourself. You may not have other entrepreneurs or business owners in your circle, whether it's your immediate family or within your friends, that you can lean on to kind of see, hey, how do I make this transition? And the crazy part of it is I know this from firsthand experience because I lived it. I lived those long days of working all day in your job, then coming home and having to go into the business. You're answering all the voicemails, you're responding to emails, you're trying to get that first deal under contract. You're going to look at houses in the evening time to kind of put an offer in. Then you find out somebody's already got it under contract. While you were at work, they've already walked it, put their offer in, and they've accepted the offer. And so it can become very lonely, and it becomes extremely stressful trying to go through it by yourself. And, it took me understanding the power of virtual assistants, that I can hire other people to come onto my team part-time to take some of these tasks off my plate that I can't get to until the end of the day, that now I have someone that's working and being a partner on my team that can help me facilitate that journey during the day. And so that's the thing that you have to realize is you don't have to go through this life by yourself and experiencing, going through trial and error, making mistakes, making expensive mistakes, and eventually putting your future success at jeopardy because you could potentially make a fatal mistake that you can't recover from. And a lot of times the mistakes are recoverable, but the damage that it does to your psychology, to the stress level, and the negative impact that it has on you, it just prevents you from being able to ever build up that momentum to move forward. And that's what we want to ultimately prevent. And that's why we're talking about mastermind groups, mentorship, and networking is just the collaboration of other individuals coming in that are building behind your vision, that have mutual, the word I'm looking for is they have a mutual benefit from you being successful, whether they've grown to love you over time, to like you, to see you as a peer. as someone that they confide in. And now you have multiple people that are trying to help you solve your problems. And that's where we're getting at with building this networking, with going into the mastermind groups, with attending professional development conferences and things like that. And I kind of capture my journey in just the 7 mistakes that I made in building up my portfolio over the years. So that's something we'll drop and share in the group later tonight, and kind of just go through over those 7 mistakes that I kind of identified as I kind of walked through my process of how did I get here, and kind of doing a retrospect look on that entrepreneur journey. And so one of the things with understanding collaboration is that I realized that I'm just one big piece in the puzzle. There's a broad world out here. There's so many different businesses. There's so many different opportunities, and I'm just one piece in this massive puzzle called life, basically. And when you break it down, there's so many different lanes when you talk about business or real estate, or for the military or government service. And it's just so many different lanes that you could participate in. And that the thing is that you need to focus your time is like, what am I really, really good at? And those things that I'm not good at, how can I partner? How can I align? How can I learn to accelerate the learning curve in order to level up in these areas? And so that was one of the things that, really understanding what is the secret to bringing all these pieces together and make it happen. And so, and then you kind of talked about, being intentional and being able to add value to every person you meet every day should be the goal. And when you make this the goal, it allows you to become that much more effective in everything that you do, everything that you touch, everybody that you come across, that it allows you that freedom in order to go through life and understand how you can make these pieces come together. You can orchestrate it. You essentially become the puppet master of your life in order to level up. And so that's one of the things that I've learned later in life, because I talked about this earlier the week, that a lot of times they tell you that it's, don't talk to strangers. But I think it was Grant Cardone that talked about it. Everything that you want out of life right now, there's a stranger, somebody that you don't know who has it, who has it and can provide it for you. And so who, not how, allowed me to realize where I was in the whole life cycle of this. And so one of the things when we started talking about networking and professional development events was, just the connections and the ability to meet individuals and be able to understand, okay, how can I benefit this individual, but also how could this individual maybe help benefit my goal and my vision? And, for us, just being able to build relationships, and you never know where one conversation can go. And that was one of the things, when I think back to the conversations that I had, at a most recent event that we done back out in Las Vegas, where we had our first, I won't say our first, it was our second vendor booth, but we were sharing the vision of REI Genius and what we were doing. We're helping veterans, retirees, and other busy professionals create passive income through real estate investing, and just going through and just sharing my vision for the company, what we're doing and how we impact lives, and just being able to have those conversations. And then next thing you know, from that alliance is made, and to the point where it's like, okay, hey, this is what we're building, and you understand other people's experiences and the knowledge that they have. And it's like, okay, no, I think this could be a great collaboration. And so with that, I'm gonna bring up Coach Martinez with Christian and kind of share his experience with us, because I met him at that event in Las Vegas back in November 23 at the Military Influencer Conference, and we connected. And just from the conversation and understanding his background as a success coach, it was like, okay, no, I think this is something that we could definitely bring together and help cast the vision and execute the vision with everything that we're doing. So what's up, Christian? I was gonna bring you on tonight, man. First, introduce yourself to the people, and then just share a little bit about your background, and and go from there.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you bringing me on. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. Okay,
outstanding. So 22-year Air Force veteran, like minds think alike. I went to the Military Influencer Conference because I wanted to grow my network, become a better person, and surround myself with like-minded individuals. So I have been in the leadership space, in the professional development space for a little over 15 years. So my transition started a little bit earlier than Johnny's. And I think it was because I quickly identified that for me, I wanted to be in a space of like, hey, I want to grow. And I think what the bug that you caught is like, man, I see that there's more, I want more, and I know that I can achieve more. And so for me, that was something that I was like, you know what? That's what I need to do. So I've been doing like leadership development and training for a while. And my biggest passion is really bringing out the best out of people, tapping into that kind of like tap potential, because most people don't realize the it factor that they have inside of them, the ability that they have to create the abundance that you're talking about. And I love the way that you think, your mindset, and the way that you show up is completely different from most people in our space. And so when we sat down and talked, my wife was like, that was kind of like weird. You guys were like, like just really in sync, and like it was just really cool.
Yeah.
So I told her, man, I really feel like this is somebody that I know that we can build something that's really amazing. And really, I think two things that really stuck out to me. One, you're a person of faith. And that was like almost like a green flag, like, hey, let's go. And then two, it was just like your desire to want to break the generational gap and the wealth gap, right, that we have in our society right now. And so for me, those are two things that I have been passionate about. I've been doing real estate, not on your level, for a little under about 12-ish years. We bought our first property. We ended up buying 2 other properties in Pennsylvania. But I think what has been really amazing is just learning. I forgot the individual's name, but he was one of the guys that posted today in the group, and he talked about how easy it is to do the multifamily, how, like it's doable for me. And it was something that was so far away from my mind, and you made it so like real and so quick that I was like, okay, I'm in, all in, let's go.
Yeah. No, and that's how it happens. No, and I felt the same way. I told my wife, I was like, the conversation I was having with him, and then like to meet someone that's, been working behind the scenes, like with John Maxwell's camp, and and talk a little bit about that, about for the experience with that.
Yeah, man. So about in 2017, I knew I was on a really fast track in my career as far as like getting promoted and different things like that. But there was something that was missing. I saw that there was a big gap between, who I was, who I wanted to be, but also some of the leaders that I saw doing well. And so in 2017, I was on my way back from overseas, and I was just like, man, I have this hunger to just be better for my team. And so I reached out to, I read one of John's books while I was on a deployment, and it was so funny. Like as soon as I got back, I was like, I got to get close to this guy. I got to be in his inner circle. And so what I did is I reached out to a few people. They said, hey, there's a organization that they have where they actually develop and train coaches. And I was like, oh, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? And so that caught my attention. I ended up going out and talking to John, just like face to face. He's like, I would love to have you be one of my coaches. We love people that are passionate. You're in the Air Force. And he was like, well, how long do you want to continue to serve? And I said, I will be done right now if I can continue to learn and grow from you. And he was like, all right. He's like, I'll take you up on that. And so from there, I have been actually over the last 2 years, I have been able to work alongside with the executive vice president of their entrepreneurial solutions group. So what he does is he helps entrepreneurs build their business and helps them, implement and infuse their business with the right tools that they can use to grow and develop just the way that they do it. And that all came from what you're talking about today, networking and masterminding, right? So I had reached out to a few people that I knew. They got me connected. And then, and I honestly think, I know, I believe in faith. And what's crazy is I honestly think if I hadn't taken that step after I read that book, I wouldn't be talking to you today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm a true believer in destiny and being in the right place at the right time, and for things to align that the opportunity is there. So no,
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate that. And for those that are going to be around, and for like the multifamily mastery, like you'll start seeing a lot more of Christian helping out and participating and kind of helping drive up the potential and also drive up the success across the board with everything that we got going on with REI Genius. But I definitely wanted you to kind of share your story and kind of,
Yeah.
because I thought that was really cool when I was going through and putting the slides together. Like, you know what? This is like a true testimony of
Yeah.
the power of actually going to these networking events and going to these conferences, that you can meet people like that and build relationships that you can align and kind of get behind a common vision. So I love
Yeah.
it, man.
And what's crazy is, so August of last year, I had this thought drop in my spirit, and I believe it was like I said, God, right? So what ended up happening is, I had this vision that I wanted to, because of my history and my wife's history, and I'll talk about that later on. But to just keep it short, we wanted to create a place where we can help people, transition, almost like a halfway house, right? Where they would come out of jail, but
Mhm.
provide them a place and a space where they can kind of transition, help them learn a skill and a trade, get back on their feet. But as they do that, they would continue to like make things better. So they would help build the next house, right? They would help create an opportunity for
Okay.
another house. And as I was thinking about that, I was like, this vision is so big. I don't know how to do it. And so I reached out to a guy in Maxwell Leadership that had talked about, we were at a mastermind, and he had talked about how big he is in the real estate space. So he has been doing real estate for a little bit over 27 years. And he said, hey, I want you to go look up these 4 things. And one of those 4 things, kind of like, was in your sphere of influence, right? It was the REI Genius, but he was talking about something slightly different. And so when I saw your logo at the MIT conference, I was like, this has got to be what he was talking about. This has got to be it, because he had mentioned it. He was like, hey, you need to, learn about this, learn about this. And I just felt like it was it. And so I reached out to him recently, actually 2 weeks ago, and he said, that wasn't the program that I'm talking about, but I'm pretty sure it's a good one because of what you mentioned to me. So he was actually trying to guide me somewhere, and it made me be intentional about everywhere that I went to look for certain things. And so, and I
Okay.
think it was your logo that caught my attention when we were at the conference. I was like, oh yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy. So then when we talked, I was like, even though this isn't the guy, this is it.
No, I love it. No, I love it. I appreciate your brother coming on and
Yeah.
sharing, man. And we'll definitely will connect. But yeah, most definitely appreciate you, Christian.
Yes, sir.
And that's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. And and kind of moving along in the slides and kind of going into that theme is understanding where you are in your journey. And just some of us have more time than we think we do, and some of us have less time than we think we do. And so all of this with the networking, the mastermind groups, the mentorship, it's all about buying back time, precious time. And a lot of times we hear the analogy that time is money, time is money. That unfortunately most people don't realize it, but time is infinitely more valuable than money. And the big thing that I want to, and make sure that you guys understand with that is that if someone said right now, I'm gonna give you $1 million cash, and you're like, okay, cool, sounds good to me. But you're going today is gonna be your last day on earth. You get the $1 million, but today's your last day on earth. Who would take it? Anybody? I'm gonna check the chat. Drop something in the chat if you would. I know I wouldn't. And so, and that's the thing, because so many times that now, hey, my time is way more important than money. And so the same thing, whereas that if someone said, if you had $1 million in the bank and they said, hey, you got terminal illness, but there's a drug out here that has 100% success rate, but it costs $1 million. And then we know for a fact that it'll cure you, you would give it up in a heartbeat, because guess what? Your health is way more important than the $1 million in the bank, that money. And so that's the thing that you got to realize, that time is infinitely more valuable than money, because there's so much money. You can go out here and make more money, but guess what? You can't go out here and make more time. And that's the thing that we have to realize with the networking, the mastermind groups, the mentorship. It allows you to buy time back. It allows you to buy other people's experiences, the time that it took them to make those mistakes and learn from them. You're actually being able to get that time and consume that time that it took them 20 years to get there. You can collapse their 20 years of experience into 3 months, 6 months, or less time. And so that's where we are right now. It's how we can go in and actually reverse and start buying back more time. And the wealthy really know this, and they understand that, and they provide and understand the value that comes with that, with being able to kind of implement that in everything that they're doing. And so networking, it leads to your net worth. Networking is one of the most important principles in achieving success in real estate or any other business. I'm gonna give a couple examples with me, with my network, and just the conversations that you can have, the ability to align with the right people, where you can create win-win situations that it will change the bottom line in everything that you're doing 100%. And it allow you to build a strong network that overall is going to lower your risk and allow you to align yourself with great people that, one, you get to help them get to their success, and then you can also participate. They get a chance to participate in your success. That is a win-win situation. And so that's one of the things that, on the real estate front, that you're looking at and finding, like your local real estate investor association, aka your RIAs. Sometimes you can join groups that's online as well too. Facebook groups are out there. You can find like local meetups. Meetup.com is a website that has like all types of different meetings, whether it's cycling enthusiasts, hiking, bird watching, real estate investing, whatever the hobby or the event is, that you could probably find a group of like-minded individuals in your local area on meetup.com. You can go to local seminars, like I was sharing earlier this week. I'll be down in Houston, Texas, February 22nd through the 25th with Gene Boyk and the Go Getter family, talking about multifamily. And I think we're going to have a total of 150 tickets for that event. And so it's a great seminar, where a workshop for 4 days where you can network with other people. You're kind of completely detached from like your normal day-to-day routine, and you're completely immersed in the subject matter and the individuals that's coming to learn and grow. And so the same thing that we've been able to do on a smaller scale within the Facebook group this week. And that's, one of the extreme reasons why I was adamant about, hey, introduce yourself with the video on video. Share what it is that you're looking for, because somebody in here can help you get past that challenge, or someone may be in your same local area, or someone may have the same goals that you have, and you can align and create the support that you need in order to find success. And so that's one of the key points of all that is sharing and becoming uncomfortable, is that you don't know who you're going to align with and who you're going to be able to help, but then also who will be able to step in and help you as well too, to achieve your goals faster and buy back that time that we talked about. And so with that, career horizon, this was one from the research I done when I was writing my book, but research shows that 70% of all jobs are not published publicly on job listing sites, and up to 80% of jobs are filled through personal and professional networks of current employees. That your network, a lot of times we say the good old boy network, or it's kind of like the fraternity, but it's the same way in the military as well too, that most of the top jobs that they don't really get broadcast, that is certain individuals where they call by name requests and say, hey, so-and-so, someone that can fill this job. Like, oh yeah, this guy worked for me, he's really good, he's going to do a great job, he's talented, and we're going to give him that position that he can be in. Whether it's somebody else that may not have a mentor that's higher up that can vouch for him and have a seat at that table to make the decision. But both are equally good, but only one that's going to get the opportunity is one that has somebody at the table that can vouch for them. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of decisions are made. And so if you're not out there networking, you're not letting people know what it is that you want, what it is that you need in your business, then you're going to be overlooked, unfortunately, at the end of the day. and things can still work out, but you want to do is everything that is in your power for you to be successful. And so with that, we're kind of diving a little bit deeper into the mastermind. What is a mastermind? I've been talking about mastermind. When you think about it, and this is kind of a witty quote, but all the social media in the world is going to only get you so far. You know, you can be out here playing in the digital space, you know, behind the cameras on Zoom. We're doing the lives, but eventually you got to get out here belly to belly, lock arms with people face to face, and start doing things together in order to go forward. And the thing for me was the mastermind groups. And so I wanted to kind of share this video here that I thought it done with Brian Tracy. It really done a great job kind of breaking it down. And so I wanted to share this with you guys for a couple minutes.
The power of mastermind groups. Commit yourself to lifelong learning. The most valuable asset you'll ever have is your mind and what you put into it. Brian Tracy. A mastermind group is a gathering of individuals who come together to support and challenge each other in their pursuit of success and personal growth. It is a group of like-minded people who share their experiences and expertise, providing an environment of collaboration and problem solving. Participants in a mastermind group are encouraged to offer creative solutions and brainstorm new ideas, as well as hold each other accountable in the pursuit of their goals. The structure of the group varies, but typically involves regular meetings to discuss successes, failures, and ideas, as well as help each other overcome any obstacles or challenges they may be facing. By creating a supportive environment, a mastermind group can be an invaluable source of inspiration and assistance. Joining a mastermind group is a great way to increase your knowledge and expand your network. By engaging in conversations with other like-minded professionals, you can share ideas, advice, and resources to help each other grow and succeed. You can also gain new perspectives and insights from the group, which can help you think outside the box and find innovative solutions to challenges that you might face. Furthermore, the supportive atmosphere of a mastermind group can help motivate you to take action and make progress on your projects and goals. The history of mastermind groups. Mastermind groups have been around for centuries, but they gained popularity in the early 20th century when Napoleon Hill wrote his book, Think and Grow Rich. Hill first used the term mastermind group to refer to a group of like-minded individuals who come together to share ideas and goals and work together to help each other achieve them. This type of group has since been used to help people achieve success in various fields, from business to creative endeavors. The concept of a mastermind group has been adapted in various ways, from online groups to in-person meetings, but the basic idea remains the same: working together to achieve success. Mastermind groups have evolved over the years and have become more organized with clear goals, expectations, and outcomes. Many of the original mastermind groups were simply informal gatherings of like-minded individuals who would meet to discuss their ideas and experiences. Today, mastermind groups are more organized and structured to ensure members are held accountable and progress can be measured. They also often include elements of coaching and mentoring, with members taking turns to provide advice, guidance, and support to each other. Additionally, the power of mastermind groups.
So that's what I wanted to kind of share. We were not going to belabor the time and go all the way through the video, but I wanted you to kind of get a good definition and feel for what masterminds are. And so 2 or more people who come together in perfect harmony to attain a defined purpose. And this was what Napoleon Hill wrote in his book, Think and Grow Rich, which is definitely one that I highly recommend you consume and read, and you probably read it multiple times. But mastermind groups, they allow you to use other people's education, experience, and influence in carrying out your plans for your life. Whatever it is that you want, you need to align other people so they know what it is that you need and then what it is that you need help with, so they can help have a positive influence on that. And he actually went through and provided research on how he actually went through it. And really one of the things that the examples that he used in the book was Andrew Carnegie, who was, very wealthy and built his wealth through the steel industry. And he talked about, and I think Napoleon Hill, he wrote this book in 1937. And I think Carnegie talked about how he had stood up his first mastermind group 25 years before then. And he just shared how he had this conglomerate of individuals and people that from just different vendors and suppliers, distributors, and all that he brought together to build this mastermind. in order for him to be successful in that industry. And the rest is history with how successful he was able to build that company and grow his company over time. And so that's one of the things that that really stood out to me, was just the power of this and the longevity and the proven track record that we've seen with mastermind groups over the centuries. And the end of the day, that their success and knowledge was due to the application of that mastermind principle. But at the end of the day, it gives you the ability to accomplish in 1 year or a short amount of time things that a lot of people would take a lifetime to figure out, or they may not even figure it out at all during their lifetime. And so one of the things with it, it allows a space to unpack difficult puzzles, like with what we do with real estate, with multifamily, that people who don't have an experience with it, that it can be challenging. But it's being able to come into a space where you can focus in on the very most important components, where you need to focus, where you need to maybe find partners, the teamwork, how to simplify it, and then to actually get exposed to it from the inside out without you actually going through and having that experience, being able to leverage other people's deals, being able to walk other people's properties, to get behind and see the numbers of somebody else's apartment before yours. So now you have access to all that it's not a crapshoot in the dark when you start going down that path, that you've been able to leverage other people's experiences, their properties, their assets, and their process and methodology that they go through in order for you to now be successful. And and like with me, my first mastermind, that it was a bunch of active duty and Army veterans that were passionate about real estate, that we all got together. And we, whether it was, reading 10 pages a day, working out 4 times a week, calling a number of brokers each week, or sending out your mail for your postcards to your motivated sellers, whatever it was, like with us. And when we get together with veterans in the military side, and especially if you got some Marines in the room, shout out to my devil dogs, my Marines, that they don't hold back and they don't hold punches. And so that's the thing, is like, hey, if you fall short, like, hey, and there's no rank, whether you're an enlisted officer, no ranks left at the door. And it's like, hey, if you didn't hold up your side of the bargain, it's like, hey, what are you doing? You didn't work out 2 days this week. It was like, you need to get together. And a lot of times they use a little bit more colorful language than that, but it's all love. And it's all about accountability and pushing each other to grow and pushing each other to be better. And so I'm not going to play this video, but this is something on YouTube, and it actually goes through the mastermind principle. So part of your homework tonight, I definitely want you to listen to Napoleon Hill. I think it's about a little bit over 10 minutes, but Napoleon Hill, he walks through the mastermind principle, and it's an audio version of it with him actually talking about the rationale behind the book. And so I think this is really good for you to kind of dive into that and get a little bit more insight behind that. But are they still applicable today? We talked about it in the video that clearly they're applicable. REI Genius, we have our mastermind. We're going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow night. For those that's looking for more accountability and looking to get involved in the real estate side of things, with how we do our business and what does that look like. But right now, that it helps with organizing time, the accountability side of it. And then when you start talking about the access to different business investments, the deals that don't see daylight, that can't be advertised to the broader public, but they come up in these different mastermind groups, and the ability to participate and align, and once grow your knowledge at the same time that you're able to get access to other opportunities is great. And it's a game changer for you as you're able to leverage that knowledge, and then you can go out and apply it to however you want to, and whatever forms or whatever groups that you're showing up in the world, that you can take those experience with you wherever you go. One of it, we talked about, okay, at least one person, in your immediate family could be part of a mastermind alliance where it's just two of you, or, maybe someone from work or from your real estate club, your meetup, maybe somebody from the Facebook group, but being able to have someone that can hold you accountable. There's no formal set number of people that you need to have in there, but it's usually goal driven and success oriented, that's work and centered around some central cause for the group. One of the things that you don't want to have is a negative mental attitude that can bring failure. Then we talked about the importance of mindset on day one, and just everything, those habits and traits that you need in order to mentally be ready to go and ready on top of your game. And so that's one of the things that you want to understand, that with all this, that understand where you are today and where you and what you bring to the table. So when you show up, that you already know what your superpowers are, and you know the areas that you may need to bolster on your team based off your capabilities, and being able to kind of work within your genius and then outsource everything else that you need to bring it to the team. And so that's one of the things that I want to make sure that we always push the mindset, because it is the foundation for everything that you do. You know, whether you're showing up in your mastermind group, you're showing up in your relationships at home, at work, how you're showing up spiritually, everything that's going to be driven by your ability to keep that positive mindset with everything that you're doing. Do they equal success? And that's one of the things that we talked about. And I tell you that success is measured backwards, but success is something that must be earned in advance. That we talked about, money is a lag indicator, because there's so much work and everything that goes, and then the money is just a byproduct. It's a result of the hard work, the sacrifice that happens. And success is the same thing, that you have to earn the success because you're putting in the work, and then eventually you get to your goal. And being able to know that, and know whatever it is that you want from life, that you're not going to become successful. You're not going to be able to achieve it and reach that destination if, one, you're violating the rights of others, and if you're not helping other people acquire what they want out of life. And so, and that's one of the things that, that really hits home with the mastermind group, that it's not just give me, but it's also, hey, I want to receive as well too. And so you're receiving and giving at the same time. And that's the beautiful thing about it. And one last saying here, Tony Robbins says, the quality of your life is most often a direct reflection of the expectations of your peer group. And so that's the thing. Your environment is very important. I think it's Zig Ziglar that says you are a sum of the 5 people you spend the most time around. Whereas that if you're hanging around 5 millionaires, then you're probably going to be the 6th millionaire. But guess what? If you're hanging around 5 people who aren't motivated, that's negative minded, and they don't have any goals, then guess what? You're probably going to be the 6th person that's going to not have those goals, not going to be looking to grow themselves and become stagnant. And so it's very, very important for you, if you're not in the right environment, if you're not in a positive state of mind, and you don't have individuals that's encouraging you, that you got to get out of there and change that environment, because it's extremely hard for you to change your environment. But guess what? Over time, it's going to be extremely more likely that your environment is going to change you if you don't separate yourself from it. And that's unfortunately a fact that we've seen play out time and time again. So talking about my first mastermind, I refer to the War Room a little bit, and just the relationships with there that I built. I joined my first true mastermind in March of 2020. And the picture here is so actually from a couple months ago. The guy in the back left corner, Doug, and everybody at the table, all the guys there at the table, we're all in the same War Room. But Doug and I have been in the same squad since March of 20. And this was the first time. This was taken the fall of this past year, a couple of months ago. So this is the first time we met in person in over 3 years. And we've met routinely, usually once a week. We're scheduled, but with holidays and things like that, it'll change. But now we say we're not internet friends anymore. Now we actually met in person, but it took over 3 years before he lives in San Diego and stationed in that area. But we've been able to build a great relationship. Here, a War Room picture, we had our guy Adam in the middle, who got promoted. This was actually probably about a year and a half ago here in the DC area. And guess what? All these guys here are in the War Room. The guy in the pilot suit in the middle, Bill Allen, he's part of the War Room as well too. And I actually was in Bill's altitude group as well, with 7-figure flipping for real estate. And so it's a tight niche within the relationships that you're able to build with these different communities. Whereas that if there's anything that I need right now, I know I can pick up the phone and I can call anybody in that picture and let them know where I'm going. And guess what? If they don't know, then they know somebody else in their network that they can call, and we can get to a solution. And so that's the thing. And that's the founder there, Dave Perret, with us together there with, and that's actually the War Room shirt that I'm wearing in that picture there. But Dave started the War Room, Military to Millionaire, and that's a picture of us in Dallas, April last year. We were both speaking at the Veterans in Real Estate Summit there in Dallas, and just us hanging out at the bar chit-chatting and catching up. But that's what it's all about. It's all about relationships and being able to have people in your corner when you're not going through life alone, and you're being able to live on purpose with everything that it is that you're doing. And one of the cool things with it, and I kind of talked about it last night with my first multifamily deal, that I joined this group in March of 20. And for those that remember last night, I got my first apartment under contract. I believe it was March 8th of 2020. So right around the same time. And then we all know that COVID kicked off toward the end of March. And so when I bought this apartment, I talked about how I structured the deal, that my partner Rory, who was in the war room with me, my first mastermind group, who actually wanted to get general partnership experience, had never bought an apartment together, had some money, and then he had some other people that wanted to invest. And so we ended up building a partnership. And we just had met together in March when I joined. And he was actually living in Guam at the time that it happened. And, from talking, I shared my deal that I'm working on and everything. He's like, hey, let's talk offline. I may be something to be interested and see if I can help in some kind of way. And it worked out perfect with the time, and with him being able to raise, 75,000 of the 95K extra that I brought into the deal. And so me being on point, joining that group, and who would have known that we would have built that relationship with the individuals in there, that we would have been a partner on my first deal. And so that's kind of the power of being in these rooms and these communities, that you just don't know where the relationship is going to go and the opportunities that's going to come with it. And so that's one of the things that I just encourage you guys. This one here is a mastermind group. I didn't add the video in here. Went from the event, this was the event that I talked about that kind of changed my life and got me into multifamily. When I went to Dallas in October of 2019, and that my first multifamily professional development event, it was a Jake and Gino event, and went there, and ET was one of the speakers. And so during the course of his speech, you know how if you know ET's over the top, he's gonna be all in your face with it, and driving you. And so like the crowd, a really professional crowd, you got a lot of people in there with suits on and stuff like that. And they really wasn't participating all with the rah-rah, getting motivated. And so I'm like, okay, I roll with ET. I have just really found ET the year before during my deployment on YouTube, because we just had so much time. It's like, okay, I'm all over YouTube. And so I found ET, and I was like, okay, this is dope. And so, so when he was asking for participation, he was talking about, hey, why are we here? And all. Like, we're here for apartments. And he was like, okay. He's like, how many apartments do you need? How many kids do you have? And I was like, okay, I got 3 kids and, and married. He's like, okay, we're going to get one apartment for each one of your kids. And you're like, okay, what's your son's name, your daughter's name, your other son's name, your wife's name? He's like, okay, we're going to get one for each one of them. And it's like, how much time is it going to take you to give them? I told him 5 years. And this was 2019. And so, and it's crazy now, with helping my client close, or with Reggie, right before Christmas, actually gets us to our 5th apartment deal that we've been in, and it's 2023. So we actually were ahead of that 5-year curve that we were talking about. It's so crazy to see the manifestation of, him saying, hey, you're gonna get one apartment for each one of your kids and your wife, and and just speaking out loud. And then 45 days later, we end up putting the LOI in on the apartment I just shown you. And then just going through that process with the mastermind groups, from going from that professional development event, how it changed my life, my mindset, and then joining a mastermind group and just being around more like-minded people. And then just boom, it happens. And so you never know where this is going to end, but I tell you all that because guess what? Don't ask how to do it. Ask who can help you do it, who's already done it with it, whatever it is that you're trying to do. And so here's some tips to help kind of find your own circle. Think about the network and mastermind groups. It lowers your risk level while simultaneously increasing your ability to achieve success and wealth faster. And we talked about that concept of being able to buy time and buy more time. And you want to find a group of members who will go all in with you, set large goals, have determination, set big dreams, and they got passion to go with it. Your hunger will drive you to your success, but you must surround yourself with other like-minded investors choosing to live their passion. Because I'll tell you that everybody's not going to choose their passion. Unfortunately, they say that if you got 100 people, only 5% are really going to hunker in and go after their dreams and really drive towards where they want to be in life for is finding success. And that's the sad fact. And so that's the thing. You got to find your 5%. You got to find your 5% that you're going to surround yourself with and make the dedication to yourself. Like, hey, I'm going to be of that small number. And I'm doing everything that I can to change my life and then change the lives of those around me. Mentoring. As we wrap up for tonight, mentoring is strictly just a guided development of skills, behavior, and knowledge base that the mentee can use to further their success and productivity. It's really development driven. It's usually wrapped around some form of education or skill set that one needs to master. It supports personal and professional development. It provides the mentees freedom to think for themselves. And then also the mentee becomes more efficient and more effective because of the mentor for someone that's more senior. What are the roles of the mentee? So if you're going to be if you're going to have someone mentor, you're going to be in a mastermind group and you have someone that's pouring into you, one, and this is just to help you be successful, is one, if you're seeking out a mentor, take the initiative. Take an initiative. Don't always wait for direction to be told to do everything. Look where you can take initiative. Set goals. We already talked about that. We don't even have to worry about that. Nobody in here tonight has to worry about the setting goals. We already got that one covered. Communicating problems and solutions. This is a huge one because a lot of times we suffer in silence. I'm guilty of it. Like a lot of times you don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to share like you made a mistake. You don't want to maybe ask a dumb question. But being able to communicate your problems is going to really set you up to get those solutions that you really need. Asking for feedback. That's kind of right there akin to it. With being able to ask for honest feedback and then being able to actually listen to the ideas and that feedback and not take offense to it. Being honest, I think is always, you don't want to kind of sugarcoat it or not tell the truth, but you want to be honest with people and being honest where you are and what you need help with. Respecting the mentor's time is always awesome to do. And that kind of fosters that relationship. But then also being open to learning. You got to be open to learning. But on the flip side, for a good mentor, they need to make time available. Also, they need to listen to their mentees' ideas. They can't just say, hey, I'm king, I run the world, I know everything. No, you need to listen. And just like anybody else, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Providing growth experience, sharing your experience and being able to provide it in an opportunity for where now you can help them grow based off of your experiences. Giving honest feedback to any mentees, but then also giving advice as well too. And then sharing knowledge and insights in order to drive that success. And then of course it comes with encouragement, with being able to have that vision to be already down the road. Now you can look back and provide that encouragement to someone that's coming down that path that you've already traveled down. What are the benefits to the mentee? They're able to pull in that knowledge and expertise from the mentor, but also they can get that career or professional guidance in this space. That's one of the things that I love with just taking my 17 plus years of being in real estate and being able to give that guidance and perspective to people who may not be as seasoned. But then also the mentee, you're able to get that feedback on what it is that you're doing, where you can make course corrections without making fatal mistakes that you could potentially derail all your momentum and your success. But then also wider understanding of industry standards. You get a different perspective on things outside of just the your perspective of maybe only doing one deal. Now with actually having someone that's done dozens and dozens of deals in different states, different cities, different asset classes. Now they can give you another lens or another viewpoint of the world that now you can take that and incorporate that in everything that you're doing. And then of course, it's also going to give you a confidence boost where you're able to understand that, hey, you have somebody, you have a team around you that has your back, and everything that you're going through, that you know that you're going to have the information and the support system to get through it and be successful. And then of course, you're going to be able to earn more by being able to get that wisdom and knowledge and information that you're going to be able to take it to the next level. And the crazy part around it, we see the impact of coaches all across everything that we do. Just looking at sports as initially, look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was in the league, 8-9 years before he won his first championship. And guess what? He had multiple coaches before he got the right coach with Phil Jackson. The same thing right behind it, the Lakers, that you had Shaq and Kobe, but they didn't get over the hump and start winning those championships until Phil showed up on the scene. And the same thing, Nick Saban, right there with being able to take the University of Alabama to 7 championships in 19 years, something crazy like that. One of the most, I guess you could say one of the best coaches ever in college football history. But Tiger Woods as well too, right there. You see his swing coach right there helping him. And then boxing is no different, baseball, and just seeing the impact on coaches for other individuals being able to achieve at a high level, that the coaches are right there as well. And we see this play in the business space as well too. To look at the individuals in the mastermind groups that are behind these billion-dollar businesses, it's no different. That it's not just one individual. You see the CEO out front, but guess what? Have you ever heard of board of advisors or the board of trustees? All it is a mastermind group. You have different people with different experiences that all come together. If you look at a lot of the corporate boards of advisors, a lot of them have military members on them that, completely, a military member who has nothing to do with selling Apple products, but they bring a diverse train of thought to the board. And so that's the thing that you look for. You look for that diversity of thought and different brains and different experiences all coming together to solve critical problems for the company. And that's all a board of advisors is. It's a fancy word for mastermind. It's just another word for mastermind group. And so that's why I want you to kind of think about this differently and just see how different organizations move and how they operate. And then now look and see across the board for you, who should you have on your board of advisors? And that's part of the homework as you go through the workbook to kind of think through and write down who are the people in your circle. If you're looking for mentorship, like, okay, who are some good candidates that you want to consider? But the thing is, success often lies not in doing everything alone, but in identifying the right collaborators that can amplify your efforts and achieve collective goals. And that's the thing. They say it's only lonely at the top if you don't bring anybody else up with you. And that's not what we're doing, because there's plenty of room for abundance in everything that we're doing, and we're a true believer in that. So that is all that I have wrapped up for you guys tonight. Networking, mentoring, and mastermind groups. Patrina, she said here, board of advisors. Yes. It is extremely critical to your success. And so that's one of the things that we definitely want to go. Be teachable, Bill said, 100%. Why not? Who, not how. I'm sorry. Who, not how. 100%. Exactly. That's what it's all about. And so you can find in the files the documents for tonight. I see one comment there. Drop a fire emojis in the chat, or did you guys benefit from tonight? I know it was a little bit, we talked about wealth last night, and it's a little bit different, now talking about the mastermind concepts and the networking and how you can leverage these different groups and rooms in order to leverage it for your success. So hopefully you guys found some value tonight. Share, like I've been telling you, drop a video. I got something special tomorrow night for those that's been actually going through. They introduced themselves with the video. They did their takeaways in the dropped in the chat with their video. If you hadn't, you can shoot one video and just catch up, and just share from each night what your thoughts were and go through. And and that's it. Any questions as we wrap up? We got 1 minute left. Awesome information. Thank you for sure. My pleasure. And make sure you're here tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's gonna be special. I think we're actually gonna do Zoom tomorrow night. So look out in the Facebook group chat. I think we're gonna do a Zoom tomorrow night where we can see everybody's faces and all that. And so we'll share the Zoom inside the Facebook group, so you guys will have that, and we'll actually kind of wrap it all up. And we're going to talk about taking action. What do we need to do to take action, to bring the mindset together, to bring it with the goals that we set for ourselves, to look at these different wealth building strategies, like with multifamily and with the networking, the mastermind groups, and everything that we can do with the mentorship. How do we bring this together to build your roadmap for success in 2024? And so that's what it's all going to do. We're going to have the capstone tomorrow night. I'm super excited. Make sure y'all check out the workbook, get the work done, share your videos, continue to network with one another inside the Facebook group. And I'll see you guys tomorrow evening. Let's go.